All right, Mel, what just happened?
Well, we went and we started her up, and I don't know if you can see it, but we just shot some coolant out of the exhaust, so
it literally came pouring out.
It came straight out. We're going to go to a boat that we had fuel pressure problems on. Change the fuel filters so he can leave today.
All right, Mel, what we got going on?
Well, I got this Raycor type filter here that I got to change.
Where are the Raycors at?
Well, they're up here on the wall.
Yep, there they are. Wait right here. This is by far probably one of my most favorite engine rooms. Look at all the space for activities. Careful of your head.
Yeah. Gotta try to get up in here.
Yeah, just those two Raycor filters. What'd you find, Mel?
Well, we got the new filter here, and this is the one I took out. So we've been taking on some lot of dirt here.
Night and day difference. Wow.
Here's the other filter.
Oh wow.
So it's got a twin system, so you can switch from one to the other. So this one was okay. That's the other one I got to change. So they've already switched on this side.
So we need this part to go onto the new filter because this is the fuel and water sensor. Someone put this on.
This is supposed to be
hand tight. Take this off.
Hand tight.
So there is a adapter, a little space to put a 3N like wrench in there or extension. We think that someone, there it goes.
Finally!
We think that
somebody put it on with this
a ratchet or an impact.
Ratchet.
To be honest.
Not an impact.
Seems like it. And look at the filter. Look at the casing. This is how much we struggled to get that off.
And we had to come all the way out in the parking lot because we don't want to work on fuel on the dock. Yep. So we got that. That's good.
But you can see that this casing took quite the beating trying to get it off. Hand tight, people. Hand tight.
When you put them on, you can read what it says on the filter, or you can do what everybody says. Oh yeah, tighter's better. Those are the people that only know two types of torque: spot torque and squint torque. People that know what that is, you're going to get a chuckle. People that don't, well,
Google's now your best friend.
Keep on over tightening stuff, because what you do with these is what the manufacturer says. You take it down until they touch, and then 1/4 turn. That's it.
And
it's sealed up. It isn't going to leak.
Please
Tighter is not better.
Please stop doing this. Makes our lives harder.
And the customer has to spend more money. Why? Because we have to spend more time. Because people just don't read instructions, or they read them and they, oh no, that's not right. I know better than the manufacturers. I know better than the people that made it. No, read the instructions, please, and follow them. Reading them's one thing, following them's another.
All right, so Mel and I were sitting here trying to prime these motors for a little bit, and nothing was really working. We weren't getting fuel. And we're like, what's going on? So you want to tell them what you found out, Mel?
Well, what I noticed was, if you look up here on these Raycor type filters, there's a pressure, and actually it's a vacuum indicator, pressure indicator, whatever you want to call it. So as we're priming these, you got to prime a diesel engine with this primer pump here. So as we're priming it, it's not supposed to get hard as it primes up the fuel to push. It wasn't getting very hard, but we were getting a lot of air. And what I noticed is the vacuum indicator is going way, way, way high on the negative side, telling me that I'm not getting fuel. So that's why I couldn't prime anything, because I wasn't getting fuel. If you look up here, these are the fuel tanks in the front here, but they are all electrically controlled valves to open and close the fuel tank. So battery switch off, ignition off, the valves are closed, so I wasn't getting any fuel. So we figured that out. We got the ignition on now. I can tell the ignition's on because the VMM is
freaking out over there,
giving me some signal. And also you can see on the EVC2, it's got power. So as soon as we did that, now we're getting fuel to the engine. Our vacuum gauges are down at 0 where they should be. And if you remember maybe one of the videos we had before with the fuel system, if you have a high vacuum, that means your fuel is not coming. Fuel line is blocked, filter is blocked. It could be a number of things, but it shows that you're pumping and getting nothing because that indicator goes higher and higher. So if that happens, you got to check and find out why you're not getting gas. fuel, whatever you want to call it, diesel.
Petroleum. So it's a bit loud in here, but this is what the gauge is supposed to look like with the motor running. You see how it's at 0 right now? No air in the system, no vacuum. That's what it's supposed to look like. So Mel's still going away at his. He's almost ready to start this one up. The gauge looks about the same over here as well.
All right, we got it all primed up and everything. I just wanted to show you guys something that you need to pay attention to when you're doing this. Just a little note here. On these primer pumps, there is an O-ring here. You want to make sure that that is in good condition when you put this back down, because that has to seal, and if it does not, when you're running this engine, it can suck air back through there if this shaft seal is no good. So pay attention to that when you're working on these, if you have a problem and it's sucking air, that could be a place that it's coming from. So we'll give this one a shot and try to start her up and see what happens. That's on the port engine. So the port engine's running up. This is our vacuum indicator here. Very good signal there. Same on the starboard side. So the filters fix the problem.
I thought I'd tell you guys about my poncho shirt that I got. This is the denim, and it's Ventura, and it's size large, sage green. And this shirt is, I don't know what kind of denim it is, but it's kind of stretchy a little bit, and it feels amazing, and it's warm. After I hurt myself up in Wisconsin when I was waiting around to get back home, I wore this pretty much every day up there when I was staying in my sister's house, and it definitely kept me toasty, and it was comfortable because I could get this on and off because it's a button-down shirt. If you're looking for good quality shirts, I have some other ones that I really like. But yeah, go ahead and check out Poncho and see what they all have to offer. They have some pretty cool shirts and really nice designs. All right, let's go see what the guys are up to.
All right, Mel, what we got going on today?
As you can see, we're kind of bundled up today.
Yeah.
It's below 60 degrees. It's the mid 50s, 55, 54.
Check the weather app and said
It's like sub-zero down here.
said 58, feeling like 50.
We got some cold weather, that's all. Good morning, how you doing?
Morning. Oh yeah, the regatta is happening. So there's a couple nice racing sailboats down here.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. If they do it in classes or,
I think they do. They have.
I would imagine they would, but
I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing as car racing where they do it in classes. This one's nice. I like the color on it. All right, so now we're on the racing sailboat with the overheating issue. What have you found so far, Mel?
well, we checked the seacock on the sail drive. We're getting seawater up through that, so that's where you start.
Getting seawater up through here. I'm just putting the hose clamps back now.
So now I'm taking the cover off the impeller. We'll check the impeller. Start at one end or the other. We're starting at the seacock end and working our way forward. Check the impeller. I'm getting water out of the sea pump, so it does bring water. So now I'll check the impeller here.
The question is it it looks whole.
Yeah, the impeller isn't broken. It's not decrepit or anything.
Looks good.
So that'll be okay.
There was one concern, and it was this guy right here.
So then I checked the cap. The coolant is empty, so you know the coolant has come out, but there's a lot of goop on the cap. Now I checked the oil. The oil checks good. There's no scum on the oil cap or the oil dipstick, so I'm not seeing that the water has gone into the oil jacket. That would indicate probably a bad head gasket or crack, or yeah, it could be a number of things, but I don't see anything. I look in here in the oil cap. Now, if I saw the same goop here that I see here, then I would be concerned that there's water getting into the oil. I don't see that, so that's not a concern. I am concerned about is the coolant, the internal engine coolant. In a car, you call it antifreeze. Radiator. We don't have a radiator here. We have a heat exchanger. So this sucks up seawater, runs the seawater through here, out through this exhaust elbow. The seawater in here goes around tubes or through tubes. I don't know which one this is.
I think it goes around in the coolant.
This is the engine coolant, the antifreeze. It is pumped by the water pump like on your regular car engine through here. This dissipates the heat. The coolant goes back through the manifold.
This right here. So if you remember a couple months ago, Mel actually replaced one of these on another boat. So this is pretty much that video of you seeing like watching him replace this entire setup. This is pretty much that. That's what that is.
It's the one that the elbow rotted out.
Yeah, the elbow rotted out. And there's a big hole in the bottom. So that's what this is.
So the impeller
Looks good.
is in one piece. The sea pump had water in it, so that means it's getting water.
So I think the next step would be probably fill the reservoir a little bit and start the motor and see if it leaks anywhere.
Yeah, and at the same time, what we'll also do is we will check the exhaust elbow to make sure we're getting cool seawater coming out through the exhaust elbow.
Are we going to have to take off this pipe to do it?
There should be a small black tube, hose, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, right here, this elbow?
Yeah, this, and it's a bear to get in and out.
Yeah, that looks like it.
But what you need to do is make sure that your seawater is flowing through the heat exchanger and not getting plugged up here, because the heat exchanger could be plugged up. Not so much on this engine as others, because if the impeller on this engine goes, it's not very easy to throw impeller pieces all the way through this hose. All the way up behind here is a
siphon valve.
Siphon lock.
So I get a light up there.
It's very difficult to get pieces of the impeller on this engine all the way into the heat exchanger.
So it pretty much goes up and then it goes right back down into the heat exchanger here.
I mean, I'm not saying it won't happen, because it can. It's water. It's moving under pressure. Very rarely will it plug anything up. Normally what I've seen, corrosion in here. I showed on one video on the boat we did that the actual elbow itself was closed. So there was no coolant. So another check that we'll do is when this is running, we should have a quite good stream of water overboard from the wet exhaust. So out the exhaust port, if the exhaust port comes out the side of the boat, some of them come out the bottom and you can't see it. This one I believe is the side, but we'll check. That's another way to see. And you want a good flow. This boat, I don't see the bypass hose. AJ is on that siphon valve that you just showed.
Yeah.
Is there a small plastic tube coming off the top of it?
Yeah.
That's going to be our excess pressure, or not excess pressure. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, it takes the pressure off of that siphon brake so that it actually works. So what will happen is, if this is plugged up, that small tube will allow water overboard, but it will not be enough to cool
this down.
the coolant. So that could be a problem.
Lots of checks to do.
Start at one end and go to the other.
All right. So we just topped up this motor with coolant. It took an entire gallon of coolant, and it's still calling for more, to be honest. So right now, Mel's just getting ready to pressurize it, pressure test it to see if there's any leaks in the coolant system.
Yeah, I think that's about as much as I'm going to get. And I don't know if this is really going to work on this or not. It's the only size I got.
No bueno.
I have no soap. And of course, this is a race boat, so I don't expect to find any soap on board. I just want to check to see if this is sealing up, just to make sure that the leak isn't. Hey, Simple Green, that's soap.
That'll work. And it's in a spray bottle.
So I'll put this around the... All right, so that's not leaking. Let's try this. Just trying to eliminate... No, we're not getting any pressure, so... I am afraid we're going to have a bad exhaust elbow.
So I don't think this man's going to be racing this weekend.
Well, I mean, if he's racing with a 20 horsepower engine, he's not winning, that's for sure. I think the idea is a regatta is to be a sail.
I think this motor is just to get you out there.
Or to get you back.
Yeah.
Or to get you into the dock. I mean, it's not easy to dock a sailboat under sail. People say they do it, but...
It's impressive, for sure.
I would say you've got to be pretty good
sailor to do that.
Pretty good driving the boat to do that. See that we're holding pressure in the system. So we're leaking from
somewhere.
And just putting more coolant in it is going to do nothing but waste the coolant.
All right, Mel, what just happened?
Well, we went and we started her up, and I don't know if you can see it, but we just shot some coolant out of the exhaust. So
It literally came pouring out.
it came straight out. I'm going to the elbow. We have a bad heat exchanger at a minimum, and the elbow could be bad. It could be the heat exchanger. It could be both, like we had on the last one, where the heat exchanger had rotted out at the bottom and the elbow was all plugged up. I don't think the elbow's plugged up because we got quite a bit of seawater coming with it too. So we will see here momentarily, but we also need to talk to the owner first, because if they still can race without the engine, we may not want to do anything right yet.
Yeah.
So
Give the big boss a call.
I'm not sure how they race these boats, but my idea is a sailboat race would be boats under sail, but you never know.
I'm mobile, heading out to breakfast. I think this is the first time we've been out to eat for 6-7 weeks. So I'm feeling better every day, and I'm pretty excited to be getting out of the house. I still have to make sure I take it easy because I don't want to separate this and take steps backwards. Yeah, we're going out to breakfast, and then we're going to run to the grocery store. It's just right across the street, so I'm actually going to walk. Excited.
Hey.
Yeah.
We know somebody that's looking for a panga and a Cuban chug. If
Oh, yeah.
anybody here in the Keys.
The panga, we're looking for like a smaller size, 20, 22 feet, 23 feet, anywhere in there, in that range, 19 to 25, let's say. It can be in really rough shape. Guessing if you have one and we can make the connection, you would probably see it on YouTube. And then the chug, they really want one, but sometimes they take 55-gallon drums and weld them together to make a boat. And that's what the guy is really looking for. If you know anybody, let me know. Here's a bra. Somebody must have had a rough night.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
I was going to show them. Matt says there's a bra on that post over there. Where are we headed?
We're going to a little restaurant over here called the Creperie. I was thinking about going to Goldman's, but I decided to change my mind. I'm going here. We'll see what we can find on the menu.
Then we'll go right to the grocery store, which is a short little walk to.
Hey, you guys see this store right here?
Sure.
Yeah, well, this empty storefront. Now, I might be aging myself here a little bit, or dating myself, I guess. But who can tell me what store that used to be? Actually, it's been 2 stores. What 2 stores? They both closed. And I think eventually that's all going to get tore down. That used to be Kmart. That's been closed for years. But Publix bought this whole plaza. I think eventually they're going to put in a super Publix or whatever you call it. So we're waiting to see what the plans for that are going to look like. I don't know if they're going to tear down all these little strip mall places, but a lot of these are empty. I think the Kmart store too far gone because it's not been maintained for many years now, and it's got spalling.
Got some pretty bad spalling.
Yeah, it's got real bad spalling actually. I think that's all going to get tore down.
All right, I've got the meat lover's omelet, rye toast, and potatoes, and unsweet iced tea.
And I've got a bacon, raspberry preserve, brie, apple sandwich. How's your breakfast?
That was really good. So it's right there, Keys Plaza Creperie. If you guys are in town, pretty good breakfast. Since last time we've been there, which has been a while, I think the quality of food has gone up. So I'm definitely putting it on the list to go again sometime.
Yeah, we picked this place because it was close to home, right?
Yep, right
Close
across the
for
street
you
from
to
home.
Be able to walk.
Yep.
And see how your arm was doing.
Yeah, it must have rained pretty hard last night or this morning, late this morning. Looks like it would have been a beautiful day for fishing. It's going to be a beauty of a day. It's just slightly breezy, and I think the high is probably 75, sunny. So this time of the year in Key West is what makes all the heat during the summer worth it. While you guys are all freezing your butts off up there, I mean, we're down here and the weather is just absolutely phenomenal. It doesn't rain very often. Of course, it did this morning sometime early. Yeah, the temperature is always perfect. If it could be this way year round, wow.
Probably got a little